Welcome to GIMP Tutorials Application, Interface, and Layout. Today I want to give a quick rundown of the application interface. By default, most installs of GIMP will look very similar to this. The primary thing to focus on is that you have a working window right here. You have a Tools window. You have a Tab Window 1, Tab Window 2, and Tab Window 3. And you can change them accordingly. Now, we're in multiple window mode, and we can have more than one window. So, for example, we create an empty project, we create another one. Easy enough with multiple working windows. So, what if you don't like having more than one window? GIMP will allow you to easily work with one window interface, which is really nice if you select Windows and then select Single Window Mode. And then as you see, the interface will be very much the same. However, you'll be in one window mode with the different windows up on the top tabs here and the same tool tabs. Personally, moving forward, I like to have my setup different from this. So I'm going to show you how I switch my stuff around, and you can either follow along or leave the setup as the way you have it. On Linux and Windows, but not on the Mac so much, you can drag a tab out of the tab window, hold it anywhere outside of that tab window, let go, and it'll open up a tab window separate from here. However, on the Mac, it doesn't do this so well. It's kind of glitchy. So we're going to not discuss that option too much. So the first tab I'd like to discuss is the Tools options. Each of these tools will have different options available to them, and you can change them in the Tools Options tab. Over here we have the different bucket fills, granite fills, tool brush styles. So for example, your pen, your paintbrush, your airbrush, and a couple of others will be able to be determined the type of brush you use here. I generally like brush styles over here. So I'm going to click on it and drag the tab into this area. And do you notice how there's a border? I want the border to be around the entire Tools tab. And then I let go. And then I drag this window, the patterns, over into this area. And then when it's a full box, again, I let go. Now, if I move the granites out and move it in this area, this space will disappear. And I'll show you. Oh no, where did it go? The best thing to do if you happen to find yourself in this situation is to go into the GIMP menu and Preferences. And on Windows and Linux, I think it will be File and Preferences. But on a Mac, it's GIMP and Preferences. Select the Window Management. Select Reset Saved Window Positions to Default Values. And then OK, OK, and then quit GIMP. Then when you reopen GIMP, it should be like it was when a fresh install. Voila. So once again, setting up the way I like it. I like my windows to be single window mode. I like it full screen. I like to have this bigger, this sidebar bigger. So I'll wait till it shows dual arrows, click, and drag. I like it about there. I'll generally bring over the paintbrush styles over first. Make it a big box and let go. Then I'll drag over the patterns, and then I'll drag over the settings, the tool options, and bring it over into this area. And then granites I'll generally click and drag over into the first working tab window. So now, layers I generally like to keep by themselves, and I'd rather switch through all the other tools down here. So what I'll do is I'll select the channels dialog and bring it down right after my tools tab. And once again, I want to make an entire box around this area here. I do the same with the paths tab, and I do the same with the undo history. Then back to settings. And this is generally the way I prefer my GIMP interface to look. Now if I quit GIMP and reopen, it should be the way I last left it. Voila. Now, so what happens if you accidentally get rid of, say, the settings? I don't know how to get rid of it if it keeps. But on a Windows or a Linux, you might be able to separate it and then accidentally close the X and it'll be gone. So what happens when you accidentally remove a tab, or you're looking for a specific tab and you don't have it? Wants to be tricky. Well, you can go on to the configure this tab. See how this little box with the arrow pointing to the left? When you click here, you can add tabs. Go to add tabs, and then your tools options will be right there. And that will bring it back to this area. And it's the same with over here. And it's the same with over here. And that's pretty much how you do that. This tab's not going away, so I'm just gonna reset save. Okay. And basically that's messing around with the GIMP interface. I will cover individual tabs more in depth later, as well as the tools tab. And the primary tabs that I find myself using are these three, the layers, and the tools options. And depending on the work I'm doing, sometimes I'll use the paths tab as a lot as well. A lot of the other tabs you're not going to use too often. But I will go through that stuff at a later date. So now we're into Windows, and I would like to demonstrate having a tab as its own separate window. So, and this could be done with anything, of course, but like clicking on the Tools tab, I can drag it out, and then it will have its own separate window, like I was trying to display on the Mac. Now again, there's a little X, and if I close it, it's gone. My settings is gone. And once again, I just have to click on here, Add tab. Oh no, where is it? Tools options. And I like it to be over here, the first one. And that covers it up. Feel free to manipulate as much as you like. You can always reset in the tools, in the file. Oh, where is it? Edit, preferences. And then once again, Windows Management, reset saved Windows positions to default values. And that concludes our tutorial.